What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, we are in my backyard today and we are, against my better judgment, going to spend a majority of the day out here in the 100+ degree Texas weather to unbox and review Mammotion's all new Luba 1000 AWD robotic lawnmower. So as you can see, it is pretty hot and sunny out here and a majority of my grass is already dead. But summer's not going to be ending soon, so why not take the time to test out this lawnmower and see how well it works. So stay tuned and we'll check this thing out. Okay guys, so I've been out here for about 5 minutes now and I am completely drenched in sweat. Now, like most of you, it's the middle of summer, and here in Texas, we have been experiencing extreme back-to-back days of extreme heat. I think today it's about 105 or 106 degrees, but it's non-stop and it's super hot. Now I know it's not the hottest anywhere, but it is still super hot. And I've been trying to find the best time to record and post this video, but I don't think summer is ending anytime soon. And this is something that I'm super excited to have gotten and also test out. So suffice to say, I think we will be testing Mammotions Luba AWD 1000 robotic lawnmower in this extreme weather to see how well it works. And if it works well in this weather, it's definitely a product worth looking out for. Anyways, let's first unbox this thing to see what all it comes with. Okay, because it's so hot outside, I decided to do the unboxing in here and then carry all the components and the lawnmower itself outside after I unbox it. So I'm just going to grab the items, we'll see what it all comes with, and then we will unbox it here and then we'll go outside and set this thing up. Okay, so these are the parts that came with it. There is supposed to be another package, but I think they're out of stock. So that should come a little bit later, and we'll probably do a follow-up video once that package arrives as well. So first and foremost, Mammotion was gracious enough to send me a kit of extra blades, screws, and washers in case I need to replace the blades on the mower itself if they were to wear out. So thank you, Mammotion, for that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what everything is. So this looks like the Luba garage. It weighs about, the net weight is 1.45 kilograms. It's one. The package size is 684 by 100 by 810. So I think this is where the lawnmower goes to charge whenever it needs to recharge. But we shall see in a few minutes. Okay, so it is just, this is the overhang to protect it from rain and other weather conditions that you put on the base itself. So that's pretty nice. And it does flex as well, but it's made completely of a durable plastic, kind of like the plastic that your trash can is made up of. So it should protect the lawnmower from the elements when it's back on its charging station. So as you can see, it looks like this. This is what the Luba garage looks like. Basically, it's a covered parking space. It converts the charging station into a covered parking space. Okay, now onto the main object itself, the actual lawnmower. Okay, so again, this is the Luba AWD 1000. This is not their top of the line robot lawnmower. There is a larger one, so I think there's a 3000 and a 5000, which can cover a larger amount of space and acreage. So this one was spec'd because of the size of my lawn, or at least the backyard, the size of my backyard, so that it would be adequate enough for the size of my lawn. Okay. Okay, so first things first, we get our manual. So this is the quick start guide for the Luba AWD. It's got the package contents, a few barcodes, QR codes for the software itself. And it is in different languages, but it just talks about how you set this thing up. Okay, so we'll just put that aside. This looks like an antenna. Okay, so we've got the antenna, which we'll put to the side. This as well looks like an antenna. Maybe this one's for the Luba itself. Oh, this is the bump bar, the sensor bar, which you plug into the front of the Luba AWD. So if it runs into something, just like a Roomba, it'll redirect. Okay, we've got this accessory kit. These look like the ground stakes for the GPS antenna. So you stab this into the ground. And this is the GPS antenna, which connects to satellites in order to provide and guide the Luba itself. I want to keep saying Roomba, but it's not a Roomba. But yeah, so this is the satellite dish. So while I'm unboxing this, Mammotions Luba line of robotic lawnmowers is one of the more advanced lawnmowers that does not require a perimeter string to be set up in order to keep the lawnmower within the perimeter that you set. Instead, this line of robotic lawnmowers relies on GPS first to track where it is and also to control where it's going when it's mowing the lawn. So that's something that's truly impressive about this lawnmower, is that you don't have to set any kind of perimeter strings in order to have this robot realize where it is or track where it's going. So what this thing does is, this is the antenna or the satellite dish, whatever you want to call it, that communicates with the GPS satellites in space in order to help geolocate and position the lawnmower and tell it where to go, as well as identify where it is and where it's going. So it basically it communicates with the satellites and sends a signal to the Luba lawnmower itself so that it always knows where it is, and also so you can track it as well. All right, so what is this? These look like fuses. So we'll take that out. We'll put the antenna to the side. And also with this antenna, you're gonna need to mount it high enough and in a location where there are no obstructions so that it can get a clear signal. So that's something that we'll find a space for once we get this all set up. Okay, this is another accessory box. So accessory box B. All right, so this looks like a power cable and a power brick. Set of blades. Looks like a bunch more cables overall. So we'll just put those aside. We'll put the blades with the other replacement set of blades up there. Okay, and these are the poles, I'm assuming, for the GPS antenna, which you just mount together. And it is a carbon fiber-like material, which is pretty nice. So very sturdy and very strong. So you just connect it, and there you go. It's a pretty stiff, strong, sturdy rod that you mount the antenna on. Okay, accessory A kit. So more accessories. And as you can see, everything is packaged super nicely and super tight. This looks like a sticker guide. We'll see what this is for when we actually get to the instructions. Okay, these are some these are some screws and bolts. So we'll keep these together. These look like some more mounting screws of some sort. Okay, and a super thick power brick. And that's probably going to power the base station itself where the Luba charges. This is the other half of the antenna mount, which grips around the poles themselves. So one end of the satellite, one end of the antenna goes on one end and the other one goes on the other end. And it just points downwards. So it just goes one end, connect the other end, and it faces downward. And then the antenna goes on the top. All right, and then this is the Luba itself. So I'm excited about this because, as you can see, it looks like a GT race car, which is a unique design and something that really caught my attention when I first saw it. Okay, so now we're gonna take the Luba out of the box. And I think it's just a matter of lifting it up. And it does have some weight to it. So we'll take the Luba out first, and that is the base station next to it. So this is the base station. Okay, so the base station itself is made of plastic, and it's got these two huge chargers as well as an infrared lens right underneath those chargers, but it's pretty huge. Then on the back is where you would attach that huge power brick. Okay, so that's the base station. And we'll just get this box out of the way so we can take a look at the Luba itself. Okay, so as you can see, right here is the Luba itself. Now the only fear I have is because it is white, so it may get dirty pretty easily. What's nice is the wheels are bi-directional, so they've got these rotator wheels that can go left to right, so it allows the Luba to turn very easily, and then it just also goes forward. This is a 4-wheel drive robotic lawnmower, so it will go on pretty much any terrain and also up steep hills, so that's also pretty nice. It's got these sensors on the side, so if it bumps into anything, it'll redirection itself. What's nice, and this is something I've never seen on lawnmower, it's also got suspension on it, so you know it will raise and lower depending on the terrain it's going over. So it may even roll over gravel for all we know. The shell itself is made of plastics, and overall it just looks like it's made of high quality materials. I mean, down to the tire as well. It's this thick rubber tire that doesn't seem like, it's not air filled either. It's a solid tire. So it's definitely gonna last a long time and probably won't even get damaged. And you don't have to worry about flats either because it is just one solid tire. The front wheel is made of plastic. All the components are made of plastic. Actually, no, this is a rubber material as well. So where it gets the traction is also rubber material as well. So there's an emergency stop here at the top. There's a start, there's a power button. And this button here looks like it allows you to adjust the height of the lawnmower itself. So depending on you, if you like to cut your grass low, medium, or high, I think you can adjust it for the certain height. And then a home button, which I guess sends it back to the home base. So that's nice. Okay, so on the back, there is also a slot for a SIM card, as well as a USB port on the back, which is nice. And then it's just got a huge amount of sensors as well. So on the front, you see these 4 sensors, but there's also sensors all around the lawnmower itself as well. But overall, I love the design. It looks like a sporty little race car, an F1 Formula race car, actually. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so now let's get to assembling everything, and then we will test this thing outside. Now, just looking at the Luba itself, this is probably the highest quality lawnmower I've ever experienced or seen. Not only is the plastic a thick, very well-made plastic, but also the components and the undercarriage is all this thick iron metal material. So very durable and just super high quality. And that's every component. So these undercarriage items are all this thick iron metal, and you know, feels like it can withstand pretty much any kind of terrain or you know, a lot of abuse in general. And then if you look at the bottom of the lawnmower itself, you'll notice that it does have 2 cutting blades. Well, actually 8 cutting blades on 2 rotating discs. So that means it'll cut very fast, and it means it'll cover this entire area. Now that's something new that I haven't seen before, because most lawnmowers have a single blade in the center, so it doesn't cover the entire width of the lawnmower itself. But this has 2 blades, so not only will things less likely get stuck, but it will also cut through pretty much everything that it comes in contact with. In addition to that, each of the blade discs does have this protective cage around it, so it keeps the blades from actually hitting any objects and debris, because this acts as kind of a spacer so that it's always leveled above what it's trying to cut. So that's also something that's very nice. Other than that, again, Yeah, so this is a thick plastic housing. Doesn't look like it flexes at all. In fact, actually, I think the plastic on this is a lot thicker than the plastic used on my old lawnmower outside in the garage. It's just super thick and very durable. And then of course my lawnmower outside also doesn't use this steel iron material for the parts as well. And as you can see, this thing does shift and can pretty much go on any terrain or adjust for any terrain. Yeah, so overall I'm pretty stoked about this lawnmower. It's just well built and just feels like a very high quality product. So you're definitely getting the value for what you spent your money on. Okay, so first things first, we will install the front bumper. So all you have to do is stick that into the hole and then punch it in, and it just goes right in. So now this will change directions if it does run into any kind of obstacle. And it is pretty sensitive. And now with that front sensor bumper on there, it looks even more like a F1 race car. Okay guys, so it is now a new day and we are again in my backyard, and it is again a crazy hot day, but we are going to be setting up the robotic lawnmower out here to test it out and see how it works. So first things first, let's set up everything and then we will go ahead and test it. Okay, so first things first, you're going to want to find an open space in your backyard where you can place the charging station. Now you're going to want to find a place that's very open, that's easy for the robot lawnmower to access, so that it can go in and out of the base station when it needs to charge. So I have this little patch area next to my patio temporarily, which is where I will place the base station because it's also next to an outlet, which is also something that you'll need to have access to because you will need to run a power cable to the charging station itself so that it can charge the robot lawnmower when it needs to be charged. So I do have an outlet right next to the patio that is easily accessible that I can plug the base station into. Now the good thing is that the power cable provided by Mammotion is very long, and they've also got extension cables. So you've got plenty of cables to run it to wherever you need the base station to. Now what's good when it comes to placement of the charging base station is that Mammotion did provide a long enough power cable and extension cords in order for you to be able to place that charging base station virtually anywhere around your house. Now that's not to say that you can place it very far away from the power outlet itself, but you do have options because it is a pretty long cable. So for our temporary setup, we are going to put the charging base station here, at least temporarily, because we are planning to cement this whole area, so we will have to move it in the future. But it'll give us the opportunity to, one, leave it in an open space, and two, I'll be able to place the antenna right here as well because it does have access to the sky, so it can get signal from the satellites as well, from the GPS satellites. Now, my long-term goal is to mount that little antenna up on my roof so that first it's higher so that the wireless frequency can reach further, but then also because it keeps it off the ground, which is something that I want to do. So as soon as we get this whole patio built out, I'm also going to mount that antenna up higher and on the roof itself, where it can get a better signal from the GPS satellite, but also transmit a broader wireless signal in order to control and manage the robotic lawnmower itself. Now, according to the booklet, it says you want to install the antenna as high as possible, and the reason for that is so that the signal is strongest, because the higher it is, the stronger the signal. So instead of using the pole that you stick into the ground, I'm going to be mounting this little satellite or antenna onto this pole, and I'm going to install this somewhere near the roof. And you want to find an unobstructed space because it needs to, I guess, be able to see the satellite to get a signal and broadcast it across your lawn. The ideal place, of course, is somewhere central, but because we don't have anything in the center of our backyard that I can mount this onto, I'm just going to mount it here because it's also the highest point in my backyard. So we'll just do this now to test it out and then see how it goes. And if it doesn't work as well, then we'll just switch it to the pole that you stick in the ground, and we will just use that even though it isn't the highest point. But the good thing about that is it's also very clear because our backyard
doesn't have anything in it right now. So there is clear sight to the satellite in the sky. Now there's of course a guide sticker that comes with it, but I'm just gonna eyeball it and screw it right into this pole. Okay, so I'm gonna pre-drill my hole so that the screw is easier to install. Now the one thing I am worried about is that this pole doesn't have a cap to it, and I didn't see one in the package, so I'm nervous that rainwater is going to get in there. But there are these holes at the bottom that will allow the water to drain, so that's a good thing. So I did not end up using the screws that came with the package. Instead, I thought I'd use these stronger bolts, which I think will hold this a lot better. Okay, and then once the bracket is installed, or the pole that you're going to attach this thing, it's time to install the antenna. And what's nice about the antenna is it comes with a clip that goes on both sides, and you just screw them in. I think I forgot the screws. So I need to go and grab those. And then it does also have these rings that you use to manage the cables. Okay, so for the antenna, the flat side is supposed to face towards the sky, hopefully unobstructed, and then the antenna, pointy antenna part, is supposed to face towards the ground, because that's the antenna that's going to provide the wide signal that the lawnmower is going to use. So the flat end is what's going to be receiving the signal from the GPS satellite. Okay, and then you just tighten the knob in the back so that it's held on securely, making sure that the antenna is still facing the sky and has clear visibility. And then you take the clips to manage the cables. Because the drip holes are on the bottom, I want to make sure that I manage the cables and put them on the top of the bar. Okay, so that is the setup for the antenna. Okay, so it's been a little while now since I unboxed the Robotic lawnmower. Now the reason why it's taken me so long to set the thing up out here and even test the Robotic lawnmower out is just because it's been summer for one, and probably one of the hottest summers I've ever experienced. So if you're not familiar, here in Texas, it's been pretty much for the past 3 months back-to-back 100+ degree temperatures and no rain at all. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but most of my grass was all dead. And is now just starting to grow back, as you can see behind me. In fact, if I step on it, you can just hear how crunchy it sounds. So that is even with me watering twice, 3 times a week. So most everything, even my hydroponic towers, has died. You know, all the plants in my towers have died, all the plants I have planted around here. Even our tree back there that we planted, it's all dead looking. So the grass is now starting to come back, and the temperature is getting a little bit cooler, at least enough for me to be able to stand it outside so that we can go ahead and set this thing up and test it now. Now, I don't know what the results will be, but at least we now do have some grass that we will be able to mow and test this thing out. So let's go ahead and continue doing the setup. Okay, so the next step after setting up the antenna is to find a space in your backyard or your front yard, wherever you decide to place this robotic lawnmower, for the home base. Now, I did find this perfect space in my back where it's open, there's no obstructions, and it should be easy for the robot to jump back onto the home base charging station. Now, it is a little bit curved because of the slope in my backyard, so I'm just gonna fill it in with some sand. Some paving sand to level it off a little bit, and then I'll put the home base tray right in this location. Now the good thing about this location is that it is not only open, but it's also not very far from the antenna itself, as well as an outlet that I can access to plug both the home station in and anything else that needs power. Now what I have here is some paver sand, which I'm just going to use to level out this area, but also provide a stable base for the home base platform to sit on, which is pretty large in itself, so this definitely probably won't be enough sand. But I'm gonna stamp this down, and hopefully it'll be good enough
for the home base itself. Okay, now to test out the fruits of my labor. So it looks like it fits just fine. And I think that's level enough. Now the good thing about this location is not only is it close to the antenna as well as an outlet, but it also gets a little bit of shade thanks to the overhang on our roof, as well as the gutters that are above it. So there is a little bit of protection because this thing does provide power and recharging for the lawnmower itself. Now the other good thing about this charging base is there's this garage roof cover. At least this is not called a charging base, but the lawnmower garage. But the good thing is that you can buy this optional roof, which will both keep the electronics safe as well as keep the lawnmower safe and unexposed to the elements such as sun or rain when it is charging and sitting stationary. Okay, so all you have to do is lower the garage roof on top of this and screw the bolts down. Now it is getting a little bit dark, so I'm probably gonna have to continue this tomorrow, but I will still install this little pole that's supposed to hold the antenna if you decide you want to mount it here above the unit itself. I'm still going to install this because with the roof it does make it a little bit top heavy, so I want to make sure that I'm putting this in there so it will also kind of nail this thing down to the ground and keep it from blowing away or moving. Okay, so once we've set up and installed the garage in an unobstructed area where the lawnmower can get to it in order to charge, we need to secure the garage down. So we already did part of that by driving the antenna pole into the garage back to hold that side down. Now the antenna pole isn't being used right now just because we've mounted that antenna on the roof so it could get better coverage and signal from the GPS satellite. So we're just going to use the pole to hold the garage down for now. In addition to that, we're also going to want to make sure we use these screws, these little screws that came with the package, to secure the other sides of the garage into the ground. This just makes sure it doesn't move or get blown around by the wind, or even moved when the mower tries to dock with it. So we're going to take these plastic screws and drive them into the ground. Now I didn't have a bit that I could use a power tool on to drive this in, so we're going to be doing this manually using this little Allen wrench that was provided. So this will be a very manual process. So there are 3 connectors on the back, then I believe 2 on the front. Yeah, so 2 on the front. So you actually do get more screws than you need. So that's a good thing, just in case one of these breaks now, because they are plastic. So I guess the weather is going to impact them over time, so it's good that this comes with extra. Now the next thing to do is, of course, connect the antenna to the base station. So you have 2 options for doing this. You can either connect the antenna directly to the base station or the garage itself, so that you can power both the garage, the recharging garage, as well as the antenna using one plug, or you can use the extension cable and connect it to an included AC adapter, which then you can also plug directly into the wall. So because I don't have that many outlets outdoors, what I'm going to do is use this extension cable and plug it from the antenna into the garage, and then plug the garage into the power outlet. So I'm only using one power cable or one outlet. Now I'm not sure if that makes sense, or even if it's the best way to do this rather than just plugging both in separately, because I'm limited on the amount of plugs I have on my patio, backyard patio. I'm just going to do it that way and see how it works. Okay, so next step, of course, is to connect the antenna to the cable. Now again, I'm connecting this extension directly to the garage itself and not to the separate plug that it came with, so we can plug it in just in a matter of saving outlet space, because I only have one available outlet on my backyard porch. So again, I'm going to plug this extension directly into the mower garage itself instead of into the AC adapter attachment that also came with the package. And I'm doing that in order to save outlet space, since I do only have one available outlet on my backyard patio. So the outlet that's plugged into the garage will power both the satellite or antenna as well as the charging of the lawnmower itself. And this is the flexibility that I like about this lawnmower. And really that just speaks to the flexibility and the adaptability and customization capabilities of this robot lawnmower kit from Mammotion. Now when it comes to the plugs themselves, the good thing about the connectors is also that they are sealed. So there are these rubber sealings that make it a little bit more waterproof and weather resistant, so you don't have to worry about water getting into the plugs themselves, because there are washers that will keep the water out in the plugs themselves and just keep it safe from taking in any water. Okay, so now that we've got that, we'll just run this cable to the robot mower garage, and we're done with the connection of the antenna to the garage. All right, so in order to connect the garage to power, there is an extension cable which you will connect to this power brick, which then plugs into the wall outlet. So this end of the extension will plug directly into the back of the garage itself, and so will the connection from the antenna. So what you want to do is go to the back, and you're going to flip up the lid in the back, and inside are two plugs. One is for the power to the wall, and one is for the cable from the antenna itself. So we'll plug in the power to the wall, and it should only fit one way, and you just push in until it snaps into place. And I know it's pretty ugly right now, but I'll run cable management after I get this thing set up. Okay, so for the power to the charging base itself, you not only have to connect the extension to the power brick, but there's also another cable which you need to connect to the other end, which plugs into the garage itself on the back. So again, same type of connection, waterproof, and then you just plug this little plug into the back. And again, it will only fit one way. Okay, and once that's done, you just need to lower the lid, and that should keep the water from coming in at least a little bit. You may need to tape it down a little bit as well, but I would also protect the cables, because if you come by with a weed whacker like you can hear in the background, you can also potentially damage the wires. Okay, and then we will go and plug this in so that we're complete with this setup. Okay, so now we've got the charging garage set up, and we've also got the antenna set up and connected to the garage. And you can see there is a green light on the garage itself, meaning that it is powered on and has power. Now, when it comes to plugging the garage into the outlet, the charging brick itself, I'm not sure if that's waterproof. My guess is that it isn't. So you do want to make sure that is mounted and placed in an area that is covered, just to be on the safe side. The cables themselves I'm not too worried about, except for maybe when I'm weed whacking, that might cause a problem. So I definitely do want to elevate and maybe protect the cabling a little bit, or just, avoid placing it in an area where you're going to need to do that lawn maintenance. So I'm going to reconfigure and do some cable management a little bit later, but for right now I just want to make sure I test this thing out to see how well it works. Okay, so now that this is all set up, the next thing is to bring the Luba lawnmower out here and push it into the station. If it needs to be charged, charge it, and then see how well it works on the lawn that we have. So stay tuned. Okay, so now that we've got the Luba out here, one thing you need to know is that this Luba does come with a safety key. I guess it's to prevent it from getting stolen or anything, or just to make sure that there is some kind of theft protection. So you cannot start the Luba without this safety key. So the package does come with two of these, and what you do is you take one of them and you install it on the back of the Luba itself, and that just allows it to start. Now, you'll also have to download the app to control it and set up all the routines and just view it and control it remotely if you want. So first thing we'll do, of course, is we'll go to the App Store and we will search for the Luba software from Mammotion. Okay, so you're going to get the software. It's a little hard to see out here, and install it. I guess I can't see my face out here. Okay, so my signal is not that great out here, so I'm going to head back closer to the home. Now what's good about, now while I'm downloading the software, of course, a good thing about the cables that come with the kit or the robotic lawnmower is that they are long enough to pretty much cover almost any yard. So this particular cable, I can go from where this station is all the way to the other end of my yard and still have plenty of cable. So the cable itself reaches very far. Okay, so now we are downloading the software. Okay, so once we've got the software, we'll open it up. Allow, okay, allow, and we'll create an account. Now what's nice about this is it doesn't require you to input a password, so it sends you a verification email, which is nice because, you know, I know most people are trying to move away from passwords. Oh, never mind, password. Okay, so once you've created an account and logged in, we'll just skip that. We'll add our Luba. So we click start. We've inserted the front bumper already. We've plugged in the security key. We've set up the charging station. Okay, I guess that's good enough. Okay, so we need to move the Luba into the charging station. And I believe it's connected, I want to say. Yeah, so the Luba is connected because the lights are flashing and you hear that beeping sound. So we'll click next. Okay, we turn on Bluetooth and it should be searching for the Luba now. And to make sure, let's just go into our Bluetooth settings. Oh, the Luba is connected already, so there we go. Now we need to connect it to our Wi-Fi. And of course you need to connect it to a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. You can't use the 5 gigahertz band. Okay, and then you click finish. Okay, so we need to upgrade the firmware, of course, first. So one click upgrade. So we'll just let the firmware upgrade and then we'll come back and continue the setup. Okay, so the firmware is upgraded successfully. So we'll click done. Okay, so we'll enter the map after the Luba stops beeping at me. So it's got 69% charge so far. So I think that's enough to at least set it up and do a test. So we'll enter the map view. Okay, so there is a joystick, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure what it's stuck on. Oh, those are the wheels. Okay, I get it. This is to move forward. Okay, so you will use the app to control Luba. Ignore, confirm. Okay, so let's enter the map. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to manually create your map and exclusion zones. So we'll click create. And the suitable grass height for Luba is 10 centimeters, which is fine because right now I think we just had our lawn mowed a couple days ago. And you know, if Luba is going to be automatically mowing every day, it should keep the grass at the right height. Okay, ensure the phone is fully charged. Clear lawn items. Okay, so basically we're going to draw a perimeter and also highlight any portions where Luba should avoid. So you're going to use the remote controls themselves to set the perimeter and areas for where Luba can mow. So we're going to build that perimeter first. So basically I'm going to manually remote control this little zone as the test zone. We're going to walk all the way around our yard. In all honesty, I'm going to have to try this thing out for a few more days or maybe even a few more months to see how well it works. But so far, I think it's doing a great job. I can kind of see the lawn lines that it leaves behind. But then again, you know, we just recently did have our lawn mowed, so it's kind of hard to see it right now. But I think over time, those lawn lines will start to appear even more visibly as it continues to mow the lawn on its own. Now, of course, there are some opportunities that I think Mammotion can address in either future builds or even through software updates. One of them being the notification system and just allowing you to see exactly any issues on the app that the lawnmower might run into. Through my tests, I haven't seen any notifications that tells me what's wrong with the lawnmower, if it does get stuck, or if there's any issues with a part of the lawn it's mowing. So things like that, and even obstacle avoidance issues. I don't see those notifications in the app. The only thing right now that I see is that it's started its job or it's finished its job. So that's an opportunity I think Mammotion can address in a future app update potentially. Now I do like that it is an all-wheel drive and the front wheels are multi-directional because that just helps for it to operate on any terrain. I do also like that it's got sensors all around, as well as a quick stop button in case you need to immediately stop the lawnmower. It's pretty much a hands-off system because once it detects that it's low on batteries, it will return to the charging garage and charge itself up and then continue the job itself. Now I do think the true test, of course, is on much more difficult terrain. My terrain is a little bit simple because it is fairly flat with a few bumps, and it's just a straight backyard. So it would be interesting to see how this thing deals on a lot of different types of terrains, whether it's rock or hills or things like that. So that may be something I test out in the future. Now overall, as these robotic lawnmowers are brand new, I think this is a very good start, and it has definitely got a lot of potential for future iterations of this lawnmower. Now challenges that I do potentially see is if you do let your lawn grow out and you don't mow it for periods of time, the Luba probably won't do a good job on those types of lawns. But if you do run the Luba on a regular maintenance schedule, let's say daily or even every other day, I don't see it running into any issues when it comes to maintaining your lawn and keeping it freshly cut. Now I will say though that the lawnmower is also pretty slow, but then again, for something that's automated, that you don't have to watch, that can continue to do its job throughout the day, it's not a big deal. So in conclusion, my first impressions of this Luba AWD robotic lawnmower are pretty good. I think it's an amazing machine. It does what it says it's supposed to, and it performs very well. I like the automation, I like the artificial intelligence, I like the GPS connectivity, and I like the job that it's performing on mowing the lawn. And I think for the price, it's definitely worth checking this out if you're one of those people who are early adopters for technology to make your life simpler. Anyways, if you do want to get one of these for yourself, there are several different versions of them for different types of lawns, for different sizes of lawns, so make sure you check out Mammotion's website. Anyways, if you want one of these for yourself, I will leave a link to it in the description section below. And if you liked and found this video helpful, please make sure you support this channel by liking and subscribing. Also make sure to ring that bell icon to get notified when I post new content. And if you want to know more about this, or if you have one of these for yourself, leave me a note in the comment section below letting me know what you think, or if you have any questions about it. I'm always happy to answer. Anyways, thanks for checking this video out. We'll see you next time.